We have today on the Moms Without Capes podcast, Jillian Speck. Welcome to the show, Jillian. Jillian is a coach for women who are ready to explore their relationship with alcohol without the shame or guilt that can sometimes sneak in. She takes a harm reduction approach to her coaching and helps her clients figure out what will work best for them and their personal situation. Her warm and empathetic approach allows her clients to examine their current habits and create realistic goals in a safe space. When she's not working with clients, you can probably find her volunteering in her community, traveling, painting, or spending time with her 3 sons, her family, and her friends. Today, Jillian and I will be chatting about mommy wine culture and how it's masking a much bigger problem. All right, so are you settled?
I know, I'm still like, oh my goodness. Okay, I got it. Okay, there you are. Okay, my goodness, that's
we need
terrible.
A tripod.
I know. I am just, as Deanna knows, like I am just the worst at social media. Okay, I'm like trying to put it up.
You're trying to prop it.
Yeah, I am, and you should see what I'm doing. Okay, let's go.
All right. So
I am a character. I do act on the side, by the way. So, yeah. Probably not.
Before we dive into mommy wine culture, I want you to just give us a brief overview of how you got to be where you are today.
Oh my goodness. Well, large question. But I come from a family that has had struggles. And when my kids were younger, so I have 3 boys, and Elliot is 20, he's going to be 21 this year. I can't believe it. So I had 3 boys in 2.5 years. And I didn't, I didn't grow up in the town I'm in. So I had no friends. And it was a big struggle for me to meet people. But I did. And but I had to do it through my kids. And so, we started at the park, and various ways of, I don't know how moms get to, you're one of 6, right? So you would know better than I would
how we make friends.
Pardon me?
Was that
how to make friends?
How to make friends. I did a whole other episode about that.
Doing a great job. Pardon me?
I did a whole other episode about that.
Okay, I really want to know your story. But I struggled. I did. And so it ended up turning into, like having wine and stuff. Not that was full time, but I did understand after a while, like, this mummy juice, and like, I don't know, the memes right now are a little bit ridiculous, but it is the case. And I have a lot of younger friends currently, and who are new moms, and they're like, I can't deal with it. I can't do this, and blah blah blah, whatever. But anyways, I don't know. Did that answer the question? I don't think it did. But
So no, tell us a little bit more about like how you got to be where you are today, like as a coach, and like talking about mommy wine culture. Like how did you get involved in it? Or what was there like a point where you decided that this was something you wanted to coach other?
I was in the wine industry.
Okay. So, okay. Yeah, so share with us a little bit more about that.
It's not something I like to promote.
Okay.
So it's kind of funny, but it's not at the same time. And so my family owns a winery.
Okay.
And so I'm still really not out of it, because I'm always going to be part of it. And it's really hard, to be honest, like being in it, because my kids are always going to be in it. And so it's a little bit difficult. But the group that, again, I didn't really drink that much, but the women that I ended up spending some time with, it was getting bad. And it was definitely, they are some women, not all, were suffering through their time. Like, postpartum, let's go there, I guess, a little bit. Like postpartum depression was a really big thing. So then let's find how we're going to deal with that. And so turn to the mummy wine juice. And I never liked the terminology at all, but it's a fact. And yeah, so I necessarily wasn't in it, but people around me.
So you're finding that many moms rely or depend
Yes.
on wine,
Yeah.
especially like as their alcohol of choice, as not only a way to socialize and to like come together as friends, but also as a coping, like a way that they're coping with things such as postpartum.
And I will admit I do remember in my personal life when I had Elliot, my eldest son, who is at U of T. So I don't know if you know U of T in Toronto.
Oh, I'm assuming the T was for Toronto. I knew that you were from.
Yeah. I guess it would be. Yeah. But so my whole family, like we all went there, but not that really matters. But he's like, I'm talking to people about, this mummy wine culture. And I said, well, I did. And I remember I called my sister-in-law, who I didn't really particularly like, but I just said, it's 1:00 and I want a glass of wine. Mm-hmm. Is that wrong? It's like, oh, sweetheart. I started drinking at 9 a.m. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm not that bad, but right. But I really I was, well, first time, like you would know, like first time mom, like I don't know what that feels like. It was a very difficult like my whole experience having a first child was really bad. And yeah, so anyways.
Yeah. So it was becoming more of like this normal.
Yeah. And then, I started this group. I was a developer on this, and I did meet my friends at the park or houses, and, we did things, but some were really drinking a lot. And I don't judge, like I'm not judging whatsoever, but it became a little bit of a problem. And some were stay-at-home moms, some were not. But yeah, it was a little difficult, I guess. Right. I'll just put it that way.
Around what time did you start noticing like that it was a problem? Like you said that is that wine?
No, it's ginger ale and cranberry juice. It's ginger ale and cranberry juice. Sorry,
Jillian, I would think that
I'm just getting over COVID. I'm just getting over COVID. Sorry.
No, for those of you who are just listening in, she's drinking it out of a wine glass. That's why I asked.
Oh, what? Sorry. I guess I should have. I'm looking at my dishwasher right now. It's like in terrible shape.
I'm just joking.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry about that. Now I feel like I'm like really blushed. But.
So you started noticing that this wasn't a healthier way to cope with all of the problems, because moms are dealing with a lot. We're dealing with like the overwhelm and the time constraints and having to take care of everyone and everything. And there's a lot of things on our plates. And so you started noticing that this is the way that a lot of moms were coping with all
they were dealing with stuff. Right? And I have to say, I walked away from this group.
Okay.
But the ironic thing is that I was in the wine industry. So right. That was another thing. And I think maybe Deanna didn't she knows, but at the same time, I didn't appreciate anymore. I understand, being a mom, as you would know, is very difficult. Mm-hmm. It is it has its days. And I've actually had 3 businesses before I've done this.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm an artist at the same time. I could turn my phone around and you could see some of my paintings. I don't think they're really that great, but it was anyways, I feel like I just got nervous. Sorry.
Okay, that's okay. Yeah. When you walked away from this group, right? Mm-hmm. You still had to find your way to be able to cope with all of the things that motherhood had thrown onto your plate. And so what were some, like, what did you do then? What were some of the things that you found that you had to develop or that you had to create in yourself in order to cope without the wine?
Well, I think for my situation was a little bit different, obviously. But at the same time, my eldest son and my middle son had health issues. I spent a lot of time in the hospital with them, unfortunately. But I did have to walk away from a lot, like, women just not dealing with stuff. So I volunteer a lot. I'm a huge volunteer still to this day. And I did a lot of fundraising for, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm going to sound really silly, but I had two friends that were really not in great shape. I'll just put it that way. And I don't know. I raised money for rehabs.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's like putting something that you're passionate about and giving back.
I actually had just got a job interview and I didn't get hired.
Nice. Congratulations.
I did not get hired.
Oh, you did not? I think you said you did.
No, I did not get hired. I did not get hired. I'm like, how is this possible? Like, oh my goodness. I'm like so embarrassed, but at least I got to tell you. I got to tell you. And Deanna's like, how could you not get hired? I have no freaking idea, but I'm terrible. I feel like my speaking right now is like really bad.
Well, maybe that door had to close for you for another one to open.
Well, one of my best friends, he's head of infectious disease in Toronto. And he said, you really do suck, like in certain ways, but like you're so fabulous in other ways. I'm like,
yeah.
Okay, thank you for saying that. But he said, no, like he couldn't even get me the job.
Okay. There is a reason. We just don't know.
I know. And you know what? He said, I think the reason why you didn't get the job is because the door is opening up.
Yes.
For you to do something
somewhere
better.
Else. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I'm a firm believer in that. I'm a very positive person, I have to say. And if you want to move forward, so one of my books is this.
Wait, we're not there yet.
Oh,
we're not there yet. But
sorry.
Yes, I definitely want to talk about her. I like Annie Grace. I do.
Oh my goodness. Is she not the best?
I actually have been sober for the past year. And It wasn't that I've been drinking, like I wasn't drinking heavily or anything. It was really just, so I want to backtrack a little bit because when Deanna had approached me, so we have a mutual friend, right? A mutual acquaintance. And that's who, when you applied for the podcast. And when she reached out to me about like what you were about, I was like, this is my first time having a guest on that is on this topic. And I had, every time I got pregnant, it was really hard for me to give up drinking. I did, but it was always with a lot of the resentment towards my husband, that the fact that he would still be able to drink and right. So it was like a lot of that resentment. And I have like, there was never a time except for like when I was pregnant that wine culture, like the whole, I felt like every social situation or every social event surrounded alcohol, right? Like barbecues, birthdays, like even kids' birthday parties, there was alcohol involved. And I don't think there was a bigger time that it became apparent than when I became pregnant, like every time I was pregnant. And so I would—
You're 5 million times. But yeah.
What? Yeah.
You're 5 million times.
Yeah.
Sorry. Bad joke.
Right. But it just, my relationship, because I know that you deal with helping women rework their relationship with alcohol. And I struggled in that area personally, being able to like, what is my relationship? Like, why is it so hard for me to feel like, even when I'm pregnant, even when like I medically cannot drink, like, why did I Why do I have such
What
a hard
about,
time with that? Like that
right?
the rebel came
Mhm.
out, right? And I was like,
Yeah, I
you
love
know,
the rebel.
yes.
Sorry, word.
So about a year ago, I just started, I did a challenge. It wasn't with Onnie Grace,
You
it was just
reevaluated some
I
things.
that's exactly what I did. I
Yeah.
reevaluated my relationship with alcohol and
Yeah.
I was like, I need to figure out
Hello.
how to have fun without alcohol, like without anything. So I had started exploring the world of Onnie Grace, that alcohol experiment, but I had done a challenge with somebody else. It was a 30-day challenge. And after I did 30 days and I followed, like I printed out, it was like just a free challenge. And I did it. And I was like, I'm going to do it for 60 days. And I continued to do it. And it wasn't the first time I did the challenge. I've done a challenge. I did a 30 that turned into 100. But then once I hit 100 this time, I was like, I don't
You
need
loved yourself.
it's yes. I'm like, it's not serving me. It's not doing anything for me. Like it's killing my next day because I had a problem like where I would have one and then it would turn into two, which would turn into three. And even though I was only doing that like once a month, even like it's still, I was like, this is not serving me in a way. It's not making me a better person. It's not
exactly.
it's just not working for me anymore. And so now I get to the point where my husband will drink or my kid, like my older adult kids.
So how are you okay? You're okay with that?
And I just don't. I don't like, I just.
No, but how do you feel as a person being next to your husband who drinks?
I would like, I get annoyed. I get annoyed because I'm like, I wish he would experience that similar that I was feeling like it's not doing anything for you, but he's not there. He's not there. And I don't know if I ever will be. And I'm just going to have to live with that. So I do feel, but I don't feel that resentment. I don't feel that like, I can't explain the feelings like that I had felt.
No, you don't have to explain
But at
actually.
this
Like it's
point, like
actually
I'm okay
a
with
very
it.
interesting thing because Deanna and I have talked about this as well. And it is like interesting when you're with somebody who continues to drink and one doesn't, right?
Right.
And how, like, what is your position? What is your position in that relationship? And how is this going to work? Because it can be very difficult.
It's
very,
difficult.
very
I do
difficult.
have to say when we go out.
Pardon?
I do have to say it's difficult when we go out, like trying to find a place. We've tried like just figuring out like, okay, so there's not many places to go, but like bars or like places that it's still surrounding alcohol. But I've just decided like, okay, I'm going to have to find some drinks, some mocktails that I'm going to have to be able to.
Mocktails are getting brilliant.
Yes,
sorry,
that was.
Yeah, they are so good. And so I don't know if Deanna explained this to you or not, but I'm writing a cookbook.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
I'm writing a cookbook, and a lot has to, well, it's everybody or every part of your body that is not functioning as well as it used to because you used to be a drinker or a drug addict, which alcohol is a drug. But it's not just that, it's like you're a smoker or whatever. And so
the substances, yeah.
What do you think about this? Rocking recovery recipes.
I like it.
Fun.
I like a little alliteration.
I think so. Well, I'm going to try my best, but I love to cook. The one thing I have not been very great at is smoking.
Well, you're a work in progress. Eventually it may come.
Yeah. Like when I'm really stressed,
baby
like
steps.
I just like to smoke. And anyways, so I can be my own jerk, but anyways, I have a big family history of alcoholism and drugs. Anyways,
but you're breaking the patterns. You're breaking
I am breaking the patterns.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Good for you. So let's talk about, what do you do for fun?
Oh my God, I'm so fun. So I just recently went to Mexico for art. So I'm also a painter.
Okay.
So I could turn the phone around and you can see my very ugly paintings. But I hike a lot. I walk a lot. I eat very healthy. But for someone who is struggling with things, uh, meditation's been good for me.
Okay. Good.
Does that work for you?
Yeah. I love meditating.
I don't feel like I'm like best at it, but
you are very hard on yourself, Jillian. You're very hard on yourself. You need to talk about quieting that inner mean girl.
Oh my goodness! Like honestly, you're the most lovely person in the world, even though we haven't physically met each other. It's like you were so hard. I'm like, well, I have a dad that he's a kind of jerk, and anyways, I've got a few things. The reason why I am who I am, and I just. One thing in life, I hope that I've given to my children is to be the best person ever. And I oh my God, I'm gonna start crying. I really wanted them always to have manner. Well, they have manners. They have manners. Mm-hmm. And I'm not on top of things for being that way, but. Anyways, so for myself personally, okay. So my best thing, I think hiking is my favorite thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
All right. Now you can present your book. What book would you recommend? That? Now you can present your book.
Oh yeah. Okay. Here it is.
Okay. So tell our listeners about it, because I'm familiar with it, but I want you to share a little bit about it.
Okay.
How did it impact you?
Well, it didn't need to impact me, but I think it's a very important book for some people.
Say what it is, because you showed it to me, but we didn't say what it was.
Oh, yeah.
Well, for those listening.
Yeah,
it's The Alcohol Experiment by Annie Grace.
Each day, pardon me.
No, we gotta say what it is. The Alcohol Experiment by Annie Grace.
Sorry. Here we are.
There's listeners who are.
I'm like the ugliest person right now. But the one thing that it gives you responsibility for opening that book each day and do your journey. So you journalize, and so that gives you responsibility to if you're thinking, oh my goodness, I am not the best I could be at this moment, and I'm drinking too much or drugs or whatever the case can be, because it can be for a lot. So it gives you responsibility to open that book every single day, write your journey, and like, okay, so I'll just give
us an example.
Put my glasses on because I'm getting old. How old are you?
How old am I?
Yeah.
I'm 46. I'm 46. That's funny.
You're what?
46.
Oh my God.
See, look, I'm letting my grays go. I could have been gray.
You're so beautiful. Honestly, like you were so beautiful. I am not 46 and I hate you right now. Anyways.
Oh my God.
Okay, you know what? I don't write it in this bucket, right? Because I give this to clients. I bought actually several of this because it's okay, let me see. The power of self-talk.
Oh, this is what you need. You need this.
I know. Well, I don't know. Like COVID hit me so freaking hard. Like I was not prepared for this, anyways. But yeah, no, I like these kind of books. I think it's good. But generally, the number one thing is me going hiking.
Yeah, good.
And Pilates. Pilates is a good one for me. And I also have an app on my phone to feel better. Like it's called Calm.
Okay, yeah, the Calm app.
Like yeah. It's.
Do you do some of your meditations through that?
Yeah,
I know they have the meditations. Yeah. Nice.
As opposed to going into the meditation.
Well, doing self meditation, like as opposed to that.
But eating is a big thing for me. Like just very healthy. Like I eat a lot of spinach and broccoli and all greens, and it's kind of worked for my kids, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, which explains why
Okay, so
you're
do
writing a
you have
cookbook.
boys or girls? What do you have?
I have 5 girls and 1 boy, and he's
Are
right
you
in the
freaking
middle.
kidding me right
Yeah,
now?
he's I have a set of twins, and he's one of the
Okay.
twins. So he's got 2 older sisters, 2 younger sisters, and a twin sister.
Why?
So yeah,
Why?
he's
Why did
surrounded.
that
He hides
happen?
in his room and plays video games. He's not having any of it. No, he's actually a really good brother.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, these 3 boys. So I have Elliot, Isaac, and Oliver. And one day, like, I don't live in Toronto anymore, which hopefully I can afford to move back there. But I bought them a bus ticket one day. And this woman at the bus depot, she said, well, what are their names? We don't need to know the full names, but what? I'm like, E. So, okay, next one, I. So the next one, O. She's like, are you kidding me right now? I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not. I said, well, I maybe had other vowels, but it didn't work out.
Did you
She's
plan
like,
it that way?
this. No.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't even realize until she said it. She's like, you have 3 vowels. I said, well, I actually had 5 vowels. It's just the other 2 didn't work out. But
yeah,
I'm like, oh my goodness, I didn't realize.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
So, where can listeners find you, Jillian?
You're gonna have to help me on that one.
Okay, so they can find you on Instagram. And do you post regularly there?
No, Deanna does.
No. Okay. But you do. You post. Just because you have somebody who does it for you, you still do. So on Instagram at Jillian Speck Coaching. And then what is your website? Do you know your website?
It's the same.
JillianSpeckCoaching.com. So
I'll have to look that up.
Your information, it's Jillian Speck Coaching. So .com. So I will go ahead and throw that information into the show notes of today's episode so everybody can follow you and find you there. And I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. And this is your first podcast, which is super exciting.
It is totally my first, and I feel so bad for you that you had to do it for me.
You're good. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.